Sometimes when you have more than one snake, you can take two snakes, rub them together, and make little baby snakes. Now, you should have some idea of their gender and maybe know a few other things too, but, let's do a breeding update. Welcome to the Green Room. I'm Bob Bledsoe. This is the inspector. He's a breeding male. A lot of people have been asking me how the breeding season's going because I think a lot of even the bigger breeders are having sort of a late season. A lot of their snakes are going late. So I haven't talked much about it because I feel like I'm having a late season too. But let's discuss it since people are asking. Now, you'll notice this is not a how to breed ball pythons video. This is my first season, and I think that breeding is something that you've got to have a lot of experience in before you try and tell other people how it's done. So I've done a lot of research, and I feel like I know what I'm doing enough to maybe not make major rookie mistakes. But I certainly don't know enough to be teaching you how to breed ball pythons. So come along on the journey with me, though, and maybe you'll find it interesting. Behind the camera, as always, is my brother Kent, who is not comfortable with snakes. But Kent, how do you feel about little cute baby snakes in the green room here in the near future?
I do not feel good about this. Baby snakes are the most dangerous because their poison is more toxic.
Kent, you're thinking of baby rattlesnakes, which don't have control of their venom glands. So if they were to bite you, they would inject more venom than maybe an adult would. Which you almost gave a snake fact there. That was almost a real fact. As we've discussed many times before, though, pythons don't have venom or poison.
Well, this is your first year breeding, so I don't think I'll be taking venom or poison information from you.
No offense. I've got 3 females that could go this year. Let's talk about them. Lucille is a 2018 snake, about 1,800 grams, and this is her first year breeding. She locks with the inspector every time I put him in there, which is about once every 4 weeks. He goes in, and they've locked a number of times now. A few months back, she was showing some mama behavior, some like laying on her side, follicle development type behavior. And it seems like when I palpate her, I can feel follicles, but I don't know if I actually know what I'm doing. I think I'm feeling follicles, but it's hard to tell. But then she stopped doing the behavior for a couple months, and I thought, oh man, maybe she's just reabsorbing. But now she's back at it again. She's sort of laying on her side a little bit, things like that. So I'm not taking her out very much. I took her out for the intro there, but she rarely is out of her tub right now because I'm just trying to let her do her thing. But she's kind of like, she'll come out and wander around still occasionally. About once a month, she'll wander around the place. Here's a little footage of her and the inspector in their tub together just last week.
Wow, your tail is really going for it.
Oh, is that mine? I didn't even realize.
Yeah, it's not my tail. Wow, you are not coy.
It's got a mind of its own. I'm sorry. This is embarrassing.
Wow, unbelievable.
Freya is my big calico girl. And Freya took last season off. She didn't breed last season. The season before last, she maternally incubated a clutch successfully. She had, I think, 8 or 9 eggs, and they all hatched, and she did great. That was with her previous owner. And so she's doing really well this year. She was locking with the inspector, and she's always sort of been doing follicle building behavior. She locked with the inspector 3, maybe 4 times, and then she stopped. So the last 2 times that I put him in there, she didn't lock with him. He was trying. He was clearly into it, and she wasn't. So as an experiment, as soon as Ron came out of quarantine, Ron was just over 600 grams when he came out of quarantine. And I was like, well, why don't I use him as a backup male? I hadn't planned on breeding him this year. I got him for next year's breeding plans. But, as a backup male, I thought, let's see if she locks with him. And she did, like, immediately. So they locked, and then I thought that she ovulated about 2 weeks ago. I thought she had an ovulation, but wasn't sure. And I thought, well, I'll put Ron in there. Again, he was due to go in the next week after what I thought was an ovulation. And I thought, well, I'll put him in there and we'll see what happens. If they lock, then maybe it's not an ovulation. And they did lock. So either maybe that still was an ovulation, and maybe she's a snake that will still lock up if she gets the opportunity even after she ovulated. But I don't think so. I think her ovulation is still to come. I think I have some footage of that, of what I thought was the ovulation. So check it out and tell me what you think. She's got a lump. It wasn't massive, but maybe it was just a build. She's in shed right now too, which could be a pre-lay shed or a pre-ovulation shed. It actually would line up timeline-wise based on when I thought she ovulated. If she's in shed right now, she'll probably shed out next week, and that would be about the right time for a pre-lay shed. So we'll see. But she also doesn't have a prominent spine that you would expect with a gravid snake. So I don't know what to think. We'll see. When there's eggs on the ground, then we'll know. So otherwise, it doesn't matter. There's nothing for me to do. I'm just trying to gauge a timeline and look for signals and signs and see what I can learn through this experience. All right, let's talk about Damara. If you remember a few videos ago, it was the one where I took a snake outside, or it was a video about taking snakes outside. I had Damara with me, and I said, normally I wouldn't bring a breeding female out, but I'm not too worried about it with Damara because it doesn't stress her out, but also I'm pretty sure she's reabsorbed her follicles at this point. On that day, that's what I thought. And the reason was that she had a long time ago stopped doing any bull wrapping. She hadn't locked with the inspector the last time or maybe 2 times that I put him in there, and she was back on food. She had eaten a couple of small rats, and then several days before I shot that video, I offered her a medium rat, and she took it. She's one of the snakes that just takes them off a plate. You just put a plate in there with a rodent, and she'll eat it when she eats it. But I was like, all right, well, she's not locking. She's back on food. She's not doing mama behavior. She probably reabsorbed, which is a bummer. But the next day after shooting that video, I thought, well, Ron has been successful with Freya. He obviously knows what he's doing. Let's see what happens. So I put Ron in with Damara as a backup male, and they locked. And then, as soon as that happened, she started doing big-time mama behavior. She's been bowl soaking. I had to change her substrate to paper because she's been bowl soaking and flooding her tub like Freya was doing before. And for the last couple weeks straight, she's been in her bowl almost the whole time until right now. She's in shed right now. And I don't think she's ovulated, so I don't think it's a pre-lay shed, but it's probably a pre-ovulation shed. So she's definitely back into sort of mama mode, and I offered her food. I offered her food the other day, and it was a small rat that one of my snakes refused because they're in shed. One of the smaller snakes refused. So small rat and a jumbo mouse, which is about the same size as a small rat. And she took the mouse and left the rat. So what that tells me is that, she's usually a big eater. When she's bulking up for breeding season, she'll easily take 2 mediums and a small rat. So what that tells me is that she just doesn't have the room. She ate the mouse because that's like giving a kid a piece of cake or a steak. They don't really care about the steak, but they'll eat that piece of cake. So she ate the little mouse and left the rat. So she is, I think she's probably going to go this year now. So I'm kind of going back and forth on whether they're going to go or not. But again, there's nothing for me to do at this point except for keep introducing the males and keep them happy and whatever. But other than that, there's nothing to do. I don't have an ultrasound machine. So when 4 weeks comes around for Damara, which I think we're 2 weeks away, and it's time for her to breed again, I think I'm going to put the inspector back in with her because I really like for his genetics to be in this clutch, because it's just part of trying to prove him out. He's got some genetics that we're not absolutely sure of, and we'll be able to really tell in Damara because she's either only going to throw a pinstripe, which is super easy to spot, or normal. And then Lucille also will just throw normals because they'll all be het pieds, but they'll all look normal from her end. And I really like the idea of having Ron's genetics in with Freya. Ron's inchy spot nose asphalt, and Freya is calico orange dream extreme gene. And I think 6 genes are going to make a whole bunch of random combos, and it might be difficult to pick out what's what, but it'll be a fun little identification video. And and those snakes would be really cool then to get into the recessive projects and get in, especially the ones that have asphalt, to get into my freeway project, and then also the ultramel clown pied stuff. So anyway, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the possibilities of maybe actually having 3 clutches this year, when I keep thinking that maybe I won't and maybe I will, and you just never know. So I'm ready. I've got my incubator ready and warmed up, and I've got egg boxes and everything ready to go. Maybe I'll do a video on that as well. I'm hoping that if and when I get eggs, they come while I'm in town, because I'm starting to do a little bit more traveling now. But anyway, I'm ready to go. Kent, what say you?
Let's ask Eric the murderer what he thinks of baby snakes. Eric? I love the idea of having little snake minions help me on my quest for murder. Well, it looks like the only 2 people in the house that think baby snakes are a good idea are you and Eric here, who is a known murderer.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Folks, do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, just take a minute and click the like button. It won't even take you a minute. The reason is it really helps in the algorithm. This is still a brand new channel. Even though a lot of you have been with me for a while and I'm coming out with videos each week, it's still brand new, and we still need help with YouTube sort of picking up the algorithm and pushing it out to more people. So if you want to help me out, that's really helpful. Even more than subscribing. I love all the subscribes, and do that too if you haven't. But hitting the like button and making comments is really helpful in the algorithm. So if you have a breeding project that you're excited about, that you've got going on this year, let me know what it is in the comments. And if you're just considering breeding, let me know what you're thinking about. What's a cool pairing that you're excited about? And that's it, you guys. We did it. Thanks for watching.